What is going on, y'all? Psych Perspectives, GeoFlux here, and we are part 3 talking about Vice President Kamala Harris versus President Donald Trump, former President Donald Trump, in the debate that took place this past Tuesday, September 10th, 2024. So what I wanted to mention as well is when it comes to bodily autonomy, reproductive health and rights, as well as abortion access and rights. Again, when it comes down to that, it's clear as day who supports bodily autonomy, who supports women being able to make decisions for their own lives and their own bodies, who supports intersex people, trans people, because I also want to make sure that I highlight it's a woman's rights issue, it's a trans rights issue, it's a bodily autonomy issue for everybody. And cisgender women are not the only ones who can potentially become pregnant and who can potentially give birth. Okay, you have cis women, you have intersex people, you have intersex men, you have trans men, you have trans masculine people, you have non-binary people. So it really is an issue about bodily autonomy and people having the agency and rights to make decisions for their own bodies. And the outcode part, when we're talking about abortion rights and access, this was determined in 1973. So 51 years ago, Roe versus Wade was determined back in the early 70s, 1973, 51 years ago. And arguably people were a lot more conservative then. And yet it's almost like we're going backwards. It ain't no almost, we're going backwards in my opinion. And again, if you are anti-abortion, then you should be pro-universal health care. You should be pro-comprehensive sexual health education being taught K through 12. Okay? You should be pro-contraceptives and teaching people about condoms and birth control and the different types of birth control and the different types of contraceptives that are out there and available. Yeah. But a lot of you who claim to be anti-abortion and pro-life, meanwhile, you don't want people to have health care. You don't want people to be able to prevent unwanted pregnancies. You feel like, in particular, you feel like cis women are baby incubators and that's their only purpose. Let's just be real. That's where a lot of this misogyny and this toxic masculinity and this patriarchy is coming from, is that ideology pushes this notion that cis women are only here to, give birth and be mothers and be helpers to their husbands. And this isn't 1954, this isn't 1854, this isn't 1754. Okay, like, cis women are able to do a lot more than give birth constantly and have kids that most of them arguably don't even want half the damn time, because again, when you look at a lot of today's pregnancies, they're literally typically mistakes. Okay, these are not children that are wanted. These are a lot of unwanted pregnancies, and at the end of the day, sperm comes to the egg. Egg doesn't come to the sperm. So again, if you're also anti-abortion, then you should really be pro-vasectomy, because a lot of these cis males, they're not interested in being fathers. They're not interested in raising their children. They're not interested in getting married and settling down half the damn time. They just want to be able to stick their penis in any and everything that walks with no repercussions, no accountabilities, no consequences. So if we're really anti-abortion, we would be pushing vasectomies. We would be pushing cis male birth control. We would be pushing that. Because again, you're the one ejaculating in everyone. It isn't the other way around. Not to mention, I'm going to keep saying this. Keep saying this. A cis male can create a child ejaculating sperm numerous times out of the year. Meanwhile, a person with the egg, whether it's a cis woman, an intersex person, a trans person, an intersex man, a trans masculine person, a non-binary person, a cis woman, the person with the egg can only carry a pregnancy full term once a year. So again, the problem is not the person with the egg. I'm just being real here. Also, it's typically the person with the penis, typically a cis male, who's ejaculating in people without their consent to begin with. This is also the same group that doesn't want to wear condoms, but yet wants to complain about child support, wants to complain about being trapped by kids. So again, at some point, if you're so anti-abortion, you would be pro other things to avoid the abortions from taking place in the first place. Not to mention, it's not just about unwanted pregnancies. It's literally people who want children, people who want to have their pregnancy, people who want to give birth, but there is something wrong that'll literally cause them to die if they go along with the pregnancy. People also miscarry. There are also stillborns. There's all kinds of complications. Literally, giving birth is the closest thing you will get to death. And yet we sit up and listen to cis males try to tell people about what they should and shouldn't do with their body. Yet cis males are not the ones getting pregnant. Cis males are not the ones carrying the pregnancy, and cis males are not the ones giving birth. So quite frankly, cis males should not be in the conversation when it comes to that, if we're really going to be honest. Because you're not the one constantly losing rights, being told what you can and cannot do with your own body, being told, case in point, you don't have to worry about walking out late at night, 11, 12 o'clock at night. You don't have to worry about getting in an Uber or Lyft and being kidnapped. Not to say that it doesn't happen, but let's be real here. And then when it happens, it's typically another cis male doing it to you. You're the problem. Anyways, that's a whole nother video. The point is, when I looked at the debate, let it be clear, if Donald Trump gets elected, he will enforce a federal ban on abortion. And when there's a federal ban, even though your individual state voted to have access to abortions and reproductive freedom and reproductive health care rights for everyone, like we did here in Michigan, the mitten state in 2022 during the midterm elections, yeah, we voted to protect abortion rights in the state of Michigan. But even if your state individually voted to protect it, if Trump is reelected to be the president again, he's going to enforce a federal ban, and that will literally trump your state rights. So again, and then this whole, he's constantly lying and saying one thing and doing the next, and then turning around, oh, I don't know anything about Project 25 and I don't support blah, blah, blah. But everything you say, everything that you've been pushing for the last 9 years is literally the blueprint to Project 2025. So I'm just sitting up here like a lot of people are being targeted and will lose rights under Donald Trump, and if Project 2025 is implemented. I'm just going to be real. So when it comes to reproductive health care, I'm going to go with Vice President Kamala Harris on that. When it goes to bodily autonomy, I'm going to go with Vice President Kamala Harris on that. When it goes to having access to abortion, I'm going to go with Vice President Kamala Harris on that. And as an intersex transgendered man who also happens to be gay, queer, I'm going to go with Vice President Kamala Harris on that. Okay? Because again, over here, you don't want me to go to the bathroom. You don't want me to be able to get health care. You don't want me to be able to have any type of say-so over what I do as a nearly 32-year-old, tax-paying, full-time working, intersex trans man. You don't want me to be able to make decisions on my own body. We're already seeing bans implemented at the state level for transgender people getting access to healthcare, including intersex people, because we are all thrown in this boat, you know, and things trickle down. So you keep telling yourself, this has nothing to do with me. It's not going to hurt me. Well, that's not my problem. And guess what? It's going to become your problem. So again, a lot of you who have a very selfish look on things, and I'm just going to call a thing, you're also very single issue. So one particular issue is why you're not voting, and then there's like 100 other issues that are impacting everybody's life, but you're going to put one issue over the other 100 issues. Because that's how a lot of people are. They're single issue voters, and also a lot of people vote against their own best interests because of their closed-minded ideologies and beliefs. I'm just going to keep it real. So yeah, if we're looking at it from that standpoint, I'm going to go with VP Kamala Harris, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz 2024 on that aspect. Now, granted, I don't agree with fracking, and I do not agree with how they are handling the ongoing genocide in Palestine. I also don't agree with how they're handling immigration in general and treating people like they're not humans. These are human beings. Everyone, in my opinion, deserves the opportunity to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And calling people illegal aliens on land that you stole, keep that in mind, because this is not the United States of America. This was Native American and indigenous people's land. Not to mention, you're calling people illegal aliens. Meanwhile, Texas, California were literally part of Mexico before you stole the land. And again, it's just wild how the USA loves to taunt about how they're a nation of immigrants, a melting pot, and immigrants built this country. But then turn around and tell people who are trying to immigrate over here that they cannot do that. And they're illegal aliens, and they're disgusting, and they're eating people's pets, and all this other shit. Which is also extremely racist and xenophobic, because if you know anything about the allegations and the stereotypes and the negative stereotypes that are associated with people from Asian countries and also people from Haiti, like, it's a racist, xenophobic undertone to that, okay? Information is in the description box below. Like I said, I didn't want to have super long videos with this, so check out the description box below. I will be doing more videos.